I'm Tom Shepherd and welcome to Upstairs by Tom Shepherd, my beautiful restaurant in Lichfield. So what inspired me to open Upstairs? My dad's third generation jeweller, and we moved to Lichfield when I was 11. The original shop was this little tobacconist. Fast forward to now, we were given the opportunity, or my dad was given the opportunity. This was owned by a family of jewellers for 140 years. And he offered it to my dad and just said, if you can like, get the funding for it, I'd love it to go to another family jewellers. But I came up here and I just had this crazy connection and also vision. You just know it's right. So I went back and I just said, Dad, like, what are your thoughts upstairs? And he said, well, when we start making some money, I'll maybe turn it into sort of offices or maybe even accommodation. And I said, could I potentially look at doing a restaurant? Got 5 restaurant designers to come. Like, all 5 of them said, listen, like, there can be a restaurant here. It's a huge restructure, but it can. So they quoted. Most expensive quote was 1.25 million. And the cheapest quote was 225 grand, which then, because of COVID, turned into me project managing it. So the whole entire build cost me 220,000. That's including a kitchen. That's including all the opening stock, because I did it all by myself. Okay, so the first dish is our Orkney scallop dish. So these are beautiful hand-dived scallops from Orkney. We actually know the diver himself, so actually hand delivers them down to us. So we get a beautiful roasted scallop and it's served with like a satay. So it's a bit of a signature dish of ours. It's been on the menu for about 2 years. The scallop dish is just the most perfect start. It really sets the whole menu up. First of all, the roasting of the Orkney scallop. Really imperative, you get a nice hot pan. We use these cast iron pans, so it's super, super heavy. And it basically retains the heat, so it controls the cooking a lot more. So very gently, just lightly season that with a little bit of table salt. So straight in. We're just looking for that sort of caramelised colouring on that sort of top side of the scallop to ensure that it really gets that delicious sort of the natural sugars of the scallop sort of comes out, so you get this beautiful sweetness. And then what we'll do is we'll cool the pan right down with some butter, and we'll turn it over and then almost let that sort of bottom side just poach. So now we're going to put that butter in, obviously cool that residual heat from the pan so you get more control over the cooking. We don't want it to be that real heavy roasting temperature, we want it to bring it down. But on top of that, butter is delicious and it adds a beautiful buttery, nutty flavour to the scallop, which again, just works so, so well. Okay, now the scallop has rested beautifully, so we're going to carve that. What I quite like doing as well is all that sort of the excess butter that we have, I decide to sort of just put all that inside as well. And not all of it's going to end up on the plate, it's the scallop, it's the butter that the scallops are cooked in, and it's absolutely delicious. So we're now ready to plate. Scallops are cooked, all the ingredients are ready. So first of all, I'm going to put the satay sauce in the plate. Nice and rich and indulgent and nostalgic. And there's some coriander oil that goes on top. Roasted scallop sits on top. With a nice little glaze of the sesame and peanut glaze for our soy roasted seeds as well. So it's sesame seeds and sunflower seeds that are in this mix. Then we very gently just transfer that into the middle. And then we just top that off with a little dashi gel with a pickled radish salad on top of that. So that's the finished dish, our signature scallop dish, which is roasted Orkney scallop with satay sauce, pickled radish salad. Our priorities were very much getting the best ingredients we could that were available to us. I had some fantastic relationships that have been built over many, many years at Sats, at Adams, at Latimer. But then equally, I had a fantastic initial team that 3 out of the 4 chefs are still here now. Obviously, Michael's now my head chef and Dan's now the head of development. Very fortunate to have 2 of the front of house are people from the start, so Flo and Ronnie. Absolute beautiful people inside and out. So from that, we haven't changed at all, but my God, we've evolved the quality of ingredients, we've evolved the moves on the plates, we've evolved as a team, we've evolved as a product. I wanted to almost create a startup, my wife Charlotte. So we just came up with a bit of a romantic idea back in 2023, September, and said, could we look at maybe starting our own drinks brand? And she just absolutely ran with it. December last year, we released our opening branding of Twofolds. We've got a banana scented rum, and that was it. And then it was born. Hopefully down the line, a year or 2 to get her own shop, her own premises. She'll then step away from Upstairs and focus on that. What I'm proud of is that every single time I put an advert out, we get a complete mix of everybody in all backgrounds. And that for me that shows that whatever culture we're portraying from a social perspective, people feel comfortable being a part of this place. And they've seen pictures of the team and they've seen men, women, black, white, etc. And it's for me that just shows that there's no opinions here, mate. If you're a quality member of staff and you're a quality chef and you're a quality front of house member, you'll be taken on regardless. Okay, so the next dish is a beautiful venison dish where we utilise the loin, the fillet, and also the leg meat to make our own sausage. And this is served with a celeriac and beetroot garnish. First of all, we're going to start to cook the loin and the sausage. Very important we get a nice raging hot pan as well. So we want a very quick sear on the loin. We're just going to add a little bit of salt to both of those ingredients. And just put that on a nice sear on that side. And then I'll just finish seasoning the sausage on the other side as well. 10 seconds aside, that's all it needs. So we're going to take that out, then we're going to sear the sausage as well. Okay, so as soon as we've got that little colorisation on the outside of the sausage, we're going to put a few knobs of butter in there, a couple of pieces of garlic, little sprigs of thyme as well, continuously building that flavour profile. And we'll pop this back in. And it's keeping that that beautiful foaming consistency of the butter, so important. So now we're going to transfer the venison from the pan to the barbecue. And we're actually going to keep that butter now as well, so we're going to sort of start to baste both of these with that butter. Some celeriac. Cool, so we've got that now. We've got venison, got a lovely sort of barbecued flavour into it. And to finish off the cooking, because it is still quite rare in the middle, so we're just going to pop it back into the pan and we're going to finish the cooking in the oven. Okay, so here we have our salt-baked beetroots, and we actually make a beetroot and blackberry sort of liquor. And then here we have a venison sauce made from essentially the saddle of the venison. And we're going to bring that up to the boil, emulsify the butter, reheat the beetroots, and be pretty much there to plate. Okay, so now the venison's had a minute on each side. It's just had 2 minutes in the oven. And the fur should really firm up now. And you can see it's got a really beautiful bounce back, and that's exactly what we want now, but we need that to relax. And lastly, we're going to mix the venison tartare, which is the fillet that lies underneath the loin of the venison. So first of all goes that beautiful diced venison, and some brunoise of shallot. Really classic tartare. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. And finally, with all the fat that comes off of the venison itself, we render that down and mix it with a little bit of aged beef fat as well. And we're just going to put that much into there just to sort of mix that together. Okay, so we're just going to put a little bit of heat into the bowl, and we're just very gently just melting that fat down, emulsifying that fat into the tartare, and then literally that is the last thing we need to do. Okay, so now the venison is beautifully rested, the sausage is also beautifully rested, all the elements are ready, so we're ready to plate. Okay, so first is this beetroot and blackberry reduction. And you just want this as a bit of sweetness on the whole dish. Then next we go on to the beetroot and blackberry ketchup and the celeriac puree. For texture, we just top that with a little bit of roasted pumpkin seeds. Celeriac, once roasted, it's quite nutty. So those pumpkin seeds really elevate that nuttiness as well. Then we go in the middle with the venison. A little bit of sausage. Celeriac to the one side. Grated venison heart. Just goes on top of that. So again, it's just emphasising that barbecued flavour. We're just continuing that flavour throughout the whole entire process. Finally, we're just going to touch a little bit of nasturtium oil. Again, quite a peppery herb, and then we're going to just finish off with the sauce. Okay, so there we have our beautiful venison dish, venison loin with its own sausage, a little bit of tartare, celeriac and beetroot. In that year of 2022, got a Michelin star in the February, first Michelin star ever in the county of Lichfield. And on top of that, I then got a phone call about 3 months later off Great British Menu. Do you want to be on Great British Menu this year? And I said, absolutely. I won the regionals, then I won the main course, and then I got to cook at the banquet in my first year. And I just couldn't believe what was happening. But my whole mindset and approach, I was relentless. I was 10, 12 weeks of just practicing every Monday and Tuesday when we were closed here. Banquet was released Easter time of 2023, and it just went mad. Absolutely mad. And all these things started to spiral, but it was like me they were invested in. Well, before GBM, no one knew who I was. They only knew upstairs. But all of a sudden, people are investing in me and investing in upstairs. And if you come here, you invest in both. They see a banana dish on Great British Menu. I need to try that. So people come here now for the banana dish. But the great thing about the banana is it's the end of your experience. So they come upstairs and they see the whole of upstairs first, and then they go, oh my God, we've still got the banana to come. Do you know what I mean? The GBM does that. So I don't think it would be be appropriate if I didn't actually do the banana dish. So I actually want to show you the dipping of the bananas as well. And I, as a kid, loved Banana Man. And I just felt like it was the most perfect one to do. And obviously, as we know, if you're Banana Man fans out there, Eric Wimp, the no ordinary schoolboy, eats a banana and turns into this superhero, which is Banana Man. So I wanted to recreate essentially a very, as lifelike as I possibly could, a recreation of a banana, and when you eat it, you may turn into a superhero as well. And it was the only dish of the whole series to score 10s every single time it was judged. 90 out of 90. So very gently, this is the banana diplomat mousse. Fresh bananas, pureed down, cooked right down, and we add in the egg yolk, flour, a little bit of corn flour, cook it out so it's really, really thick. Set that, and then we add the chocolate coated popping candy, and the only addition for that is that little wow factor as you eat it. It's quite surprising. And then the dip that we do is equal quantities of white chocolate and cocoa butter, and we emulsify that with some yellow powdered food colouring. Pull that out, allow the excess to run off the end, scrape it on the side, and then very gently turn it upside down, and then pull it out. And then with that excess, we just very gently just sort of cover that hole up on the end, and that's the banana. Final preparation for the bananas is just to paint them, give those famous bruised black stripes. And we do that using some carbonated beetroot powder that we just very gently let down with some water, and it gives it a beautiful stroke of black through the yellow, and it doesn't taste of anything, it's completely tasteless. So here we have the Great British Menu 2023 dessert, No Ordinary Schoolboy, and this is with a beautiful banana creme diplomat, mock-filled banana with a banana sponge that is soaked in my own banana rum, caramelised banana puree, maple granola, and banana ice cream. What the future holds for me upstairs, family, it's just enjoy it. When something feels right, take the opportunity. And also just always be real, just always be just who you are. Don't pretend and be anyone else. There's just no time for it. People lose connection with you, from staff all the way down to customers. It's imperative you don't change, mate, because what got you here is you and your outlook. Don't change that. Just evolve it and just try and get better.